Frankie from Flatbush rides the Brooklyn line. Got a swagger sharp like a vintage wine. Everybody knows his name from porch to stoop. Hustling dreams in every loop. In the park he struts, hits the handball wall. Echoes hear the stories when the shadows fall. Got 1,000 tales and a confident grin. On the streets of Flatbush where legends begin. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near. He's got the rhythm, everybody cheers. Corner talks and sidewalk chalks his fame. In the Flatbush breeze you'll hear his name. Underneath the subway hum, the magic's real. Frankie's moves got that electric feel. From Atlantic Avenue to the urban hill, Flatbush Frankie's giving you a thrill. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go.
Testing, testing, testing. Testing microphone, testing laptop, testing, testing. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. You may notice something different about the surroundings. Testing, testing. Let me know. Microphone check, microphone check, microphone check. 1, 2. Seems good on my end. Let me know if you can hear me out there. Ohio Jet fan was early. OHIO. OHIO. Yeah. TL, happy Friday. Todd is here. Good to see you, Todd. The great Phil Adams is here. Audio is good. Thank you, Todd. The great Phil Adams from the Great Britain, across the pond. Franklin Fung is here. Good to see you. Harlan. No, I certainly did not shave. And as a matter of fact, and we got Green Fiend NYJ here. As a matter of fact, I've been too busy to shave. And the reason is because I'm in a brand new apartment. You may notice a little bit different surroundings. This in particular room is the second bedroom of this apartment that I'm turning into an office to do work in. And it doesn't even have an overhead light. So that's going to come in Tuesday or Wednesday. So we're making do with alternate lighting schemes, new setup, getting all set up in this apartment. And of course, one of the first things that you got to do when you're setting up a brand new apartment, you got to fly your jet's jack. As you can see behind my head, we got the jet's jack flying high because, after all, there's only 5 Jets Jack flags in the entire world. And I got one of them and you don't, unless your name is Green Bean or Gunny or Jeremy, aka Jets Chaos. Then you don't have one, and I do. And that's the first thing you got to put up when you go into a new apartment. So we'll see how this apartment changes over time. It literally moved in today. So it's been a long day, as you can imagine. It's Friday here in America. It's 6:05 p.m. on the East Coast. It's February the 14th, 2025, and that's the latest in Frankie news. But we also have some jet news. Did you know? Did you know that this piece of news came out? Let's see if this thing works while I'm here. This piece of news came out right now. Let's go to Dick Chimney, who says some Jets bookkeeping. Brees Hall and Michael Clemens will qualify for PPE. That's not personal protective equipment. That's not what he's talking about. No, no, no. He's talking about proven performance escalators, raises. They're getting a raise in their salary. Uh, Per projections by Over the Cap. Hall's base salary will increase he'll get almost double. Clemens is going to triple in salary. Now, this may come as a surprise to you. This is based on how much you play. It's not based on how well you play. Players drafted in rounds 2 through 7 can earn PPEs in their fourth year based mostly on playing time formula. And as I say right here, and this will ensure that Clemens is in fact cut, saving the Jets even more against the cap. So in a way, this is good news. We're not going to be paying Michael Clemens no $3.3 million. We're going to be cutting him and paying him $0 and cents. So Phil Adams says Aaron Rodgers has the fifth Jets jack. Wonder if he'll give it back now. I think Phil Adams is revealing something to the world here that was previously occluded, hidden, but now known. Aaron Rodgers. So there's basically 5 people on this earth who have the flag you see behind my head. Myself, Green Bean, then you got your Gunny, then you got your Jeremy Jets Chaos, then you got your Aaron Rodgers. That's it. The only people in the whole world. So there's that. But now this is good news. So this will basically what this news tells me is that we're definitely getting rid of Clemens because we might have kept him at 1.5 million, but we're certainly not going to keep him at 3.3. So he's going to go, and so I think most Jet fans would say, "Well, that's great." So that being the case, who wants to talk a little bit capology? Who wants to know about the salary cap? Anybody interested? Want to know how much money we're going to have to spend? Um, in the off season. Anybody interested? Anybody interested? Ohio, you can't get one. Sorry, buddy. There's only 5 in the whole world. Ohio, I already told you. They're unique items. They're bespoke items. Ohio, you can't get one. You can't go to the store and get yourself a Jets jack. They don't sell them at Walmart. I mean, these are bespoke items, custom handmade, perfectly stitched. You know, you can't just walk into a dollar store and pick one up. You know, it's not how it works. It's not how it works. They're special. Well, Rodgers won Ohio. You got to get. You're going to have to probably, take it out of his cold dead hands. He's probably gripping onto that thing real tight now. He's not going to give it up. What do you think? He's just going to give it up? He's one of the few, the proud, the Jet Jack holders. Oh, Ablab. I always thought it was Gunny, Phil. Ablab won one. Oh, I always thought it was Gunny. Oh, I guess I was wrong about that. All right, well, Ablab it is. Well, and Ablab, he definitely deserves it. That's for sure. Um, so who wants to go over some cap stuff to know how much money we're going to spend in the off season? Wouldn't that be good to know? I think it'd be good to know. We now have some clarity on some of these players that we didn't have clarity on before. We kind of know what we're going to do with some of these players, like Aaron Rodgers and like Gunny has a Jets super flag. Oh, that's why it's confusing. Oh, we got plenty of money, Ohio. So Ohio says we got no money. Yeah, well, let's take a look, shall we? Let's see how much money we got. Well, right here, as of right now, you can see right here, we got $17 million. So we don't have no money. We have 17 million right now. But we know that's going to change, right? Why? Because we're getting rid of Devontae Adams. So we're going to cut Devontae Adams with a 6-1 pre-6-1 cut, right? Right. Boom. We now have $47 million. Hello. So one move. We went from 17 to 47. You see in this, Ohio? You see how it works? Now Aaron Rodgers, we're going to cut him. Obviously, we're going to cut him post 6-1. So we submit that. Now we've got $56 million. But we can't. The trick with Rodgers is we can't spend that money until after 6-1, like I think Dom C is saying here. So Dom C's in the house. Shop in the second wave, gather as many comp picks, carry over money. I don't know what Dom's talking about. We got 56, but then that's not all. We now know that we're gonna cut Alan Lazard for sure. Let's do that pre 6-1. Submit that cut. Now we're up to 63 million. Now we also just learned that Michael Clemens is scheduled to get a raise. So he's not going to be on the team. So we're going to cut him. And now we have $66 million before we do anything else. All we do is just some very basic things, and we got $66 million. That's plenty to do everything we need to do. By the way, we could re-sign Conk, we could re-sign Moses, we could re-sign Sherwood, we could re-sign anyone we want. Eccles, we could re-sign him if we want. Erkin Charles, he's definitely probably going to be retained. He's an exclusive rights free agent. He'll be retained very cheaply. But for example, I think Dom had on his X account the other day, like you could extend AVT, for example, extend or renegotiate. They have on here. I'm not exactly sure how to do it. Maybe I have to go over here, but you could do that. If you want to extend him, then we get more cap space for next year. CJ Mosley, we have to decide what to do with him. So most likely thing you would do here is cut post 6-1, submit, and now we got $70.5 million. So we got plenty of money. As the opposite of what Ohio said, we got no money. No, we got plenty of money. And we could do more. We could cut Greg Zerline. Bang. Now what do we got? 73 million. I mean, if you cut Greg Zerline, does that really and just sign some random, kicker? Does that really hurt you? I don't think so. Uh, and we could extend any of these people if we redo Garrett Wilson's contract, Sauce Gardner's contract, extend those people. We can get way more money. Way more. We could cut Max Mitchell and Carter Warren. Let's see what happens then. We don't really need them. Now we're up to 75 million. Now, of course, you got to replace these people on the roster, so you don't want to just cut everybody. But you see what I'm saying here. It's very easy for us to get up to 75 million. Very easy, without letting go of people that we really need. So that's really all we need. That's really all we need to do. I mean, even if we just do the three amigos, we're still in good shape if that's all we do. But that's probably not all we're going to do. But the three amigos plus Clemens, I think Clemens is probably gone. We still have enough money to retain who we want to retain, and then go out there and get additional guys that we need. 66 million and a half. And I think 24 of that you can't use until after 6/1. So you still have the money. You have it. It's no problemo. Can we let go of Lazard for $500? Well, we're going to let him go. That's for sure. Let's keep let's cut all the keep Aaron Rodgers whiners. Yeah, I mean, look, the Jets made their decision. It's AG's team now, and so it's time to just get behind AG in the decision making. I don't see what the point of whining about Rodgers is now. He's gone. We thank him for his service. He tried. He did everything he could. He blew out his Achilles. What are we going to do? That's life. But far from having no money, we got plenty of money. And I bet you there's going to be a couple of extensions. I mean, Ali Vera Tucker could get an extension. Garrett Wilson could get an extension. Sauce Gardner could get an extension, or Ahmad Gardner. I mean, he's not Sauce anymore. John Simpson can get an extension. We could extend Quincy. Now, Quincy Williams is interesting because he's a trade candidate, actually, simply because he's 29 years old already. And if we traded him, what would happen? And we don't really get much. Question is, do you want to keep Quincy around? Do you want to trade him for a pick? It would really be for a pick. It really wouldn't be for the savings. You're not saving that much. The question is, how much is Quincy going to lose a step in the next year or two? That's for the coaching staff to decide. Um, Jermaine Johnson could be extended, for example, lowering his cap hit. You could get rid of Morstead if you wanted to. I don't really want to, but you could. You could get rid of Ruckert if you wanted to. I don't think that saves us very much money. So there's probably not a good reason. No, it doesn't at all. So no real reason to get rid of Ruckert. Just keep him on the roster and hope he can do something. But Mitchell and Warren, you could cut very easily without harming anything. So there's a lot left to do. We also have Carlson, I guess, on the roster. Anders Carlson, I guess, is still on the roster if we wanted to go with him for our kicker, but we probably don't. But there you go. There's the cap stuff. Oh, yeah. Well, in free agency, you really just want to, what's weird about free agency? Free agency really should come after the draft. Like, it's so strange that you have to sign guys before you draft them because you'd really rather draft impact players, right? If you can. Then once you know the outcome of your draft, then you would want to fill in your gaps with the free agents. But it doesn't work that way. You got to sign your free agents first and then go into the draft and then go into the second and third wave of free agency after the draft and all that. So it's kind of strange that way. I wish we could draft first and then sign the free agents. That would be much better. Lojo says so Rodgers wanted to stay. We don't know what Rodgers wanted, but he was open to it. That's what we know. Infrared says, is Sherwood up for a contract, guys? Well, Sherwood's a free agent, Infrared. So if we want him, we got to sign him. He's going to cost about $7 or $8 million. So we could sign him very easily. If we traded Quincy, we would have zero backers. Well, we would have Sherwood in that scenario. And then we would look to obviously draft a guy like Sawyer or one of the top backers in the draft. We would get one of the top backers in the draft in round 2 or 3. Plus, we do have these other backers, Barnes. Can they do something? McCrary Ball. What about? I mean, Zach Barnes we drafted. He hasn't done anything. Um, but remember, we're only playing with two starting linebackers, anyways. Then we have to decide what to do with CJ. So if you kept CJ, then you could trade Quincy more easily. And then you have guys like Barnes, and then you would draft one and sign like a more cost effective one as a free agent, something like that. Big Quest is here. I'm in the corner, buddy. Swamp Ranger says, "What about Clemens? Oh, can we trade him? Probably not. Probably not. For a seventh, a conditional seventh, maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't see why they would. I don't see why they would. So, so there you go. That's the cap situation. So we're in good shape. We got a lot of options. Uh, I'm not saying we should trade Quincy. I'm saying it's an option because he's 29 years old and he might be losing a step soon. So, do you want to trade him for a fourth round pick or third round pick? If somebody offers you a third round pick for Quincy, you probably got to take it because we got to replenish this roster and get younger. And you just use that pick on a linebacker. That's what you do. Um, so that is that about the cap. All right. Any other cap questions before we move on to a couple other topics that I think are pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. All right, nothing on the cap. Let's move on then, Frankie, said no one. All right, front office sports. Giants open to selling minority stake. Will Eli Manning be involved? So now this is something that watchers of this channel know that I've been talking about for months and months and months now about how the Jets should be open to selling minority stakes. But now here's the Giants. So this is the team, of course, in our backyard. We share a stadium with them. There are arch rivals, although not really anymore. And the Mara family and the Tish family and all that are open to selling the team. Not selling the team, but selling a minority stake, which means they get what? They get liquidity, straight cash, homie. And why is that important? Well, I think Woody needs to look into this as well because once you get some straight cash, homie, you can then use it to do some of this salary cap stuff. Because remember, it's one thing to move stuff around on the salary cap. It's another thing if you're the owner and you have to pay people. You have to pay the cash money when you have big signing bonuses. How do you get the cash money? Well, one way is to sell a minority stake. When you sell a minority stake, you get liquidity. Four-time Super Bowl champions are currently in a competitive malaise. That's a good way to say they stink. Uh, but they could still find plenty of interest from investors, the article says. By Eric Fisher, February 14th, 2025, 10:47 a.m. Updated at 11:51. He realized he forgot a comma somewhere. An hour later, updated. Oops, this cut me off. That's no good. But the Giants are currently one of the NFL's worst teams on the field. That's a hell of a way to start an article. Having just posted a 3-14 record while also watching former running back Saquon Barkley win a Super Bowl with the Eagles. Well, I'm going to get this full article in a second. Let's work a little internet magic, shall we? Let's work a little internet magic. Try to cut old Frankie off reading an article. I don't think so. I don't think so. I do not think so. I'm going to cut me off. Uh, okay. So here we are. Uh, now we can read the whole article. The team owned by the Mara and Tish families said it is considering a sale of up to 10% of the franchise. 10%. which could mean for them, somewhere 600, $700 million, including potentially to private equity investors, as we've been talking about on this channel. The move follows the NFL's approval last summer of the structure of for PE deals and subsequent agreements for the Bills and Dolphins. So two teams in our division are doing this, and our crosstown rivals are doing this. Let's get rid of this caption here. We don't have any music playing at the moment. Um, well, we don't know, Phil. I mean, this is the thing that's annoying about all this. The owners are not required to come in front of the media at all in terms of like how the head coach has to talk to the media 4 times a year, 4 times a week during the season. The coordinators have to talk to the media 1 time per week during the season. The general manager has to talk to the media, I think, 2 or 3 times during the year. The owners never have to talk to the media. It's ridiculous. And we have no idea what's going on with the business side of the franchise, with Woody in terms of anything. It's whenever Woody wants to talk to the media. That's when he talks to the media. So we don't know. But this is something we need to talk about. Two teams in our division are doing it, and our crosstown rivals are doing it now. The Giants, however, in line to possibly set a new record for the valuation of a North American pro sports team. Recent franchise valuations have estimated the Giants' worth at $7.3 billion with a B. But the forthcoming deal will almost certainly beat that, and perhaps by a lot. Could be 10 billion, which means they would get a billion if they sold 10%. Cool Billy in cash, mofo, in cash money. Can you imagine $1 billion in cash? Jesus Christ. It's hard to imagine. The Mara and Tish families have retained Moelis and Company to explore the potential sale of a minority non-controlling stake in the New York Gigantes, the team said in a statement. There will be no further comment in regard to the process. You are not allowed to know anything more than what we're going to tell you. No further comment at this time. There will be no further comment. Despite the competitive malaise, they call it, or general stinking, that has left the Jets out of the playoffs in the last 7 of the last 8 seasons, the team boasts a 100-year legacy, 4 Super Bowl titles, and a presence in the #1 U.S. media marketo. Fan support for the Giants has ebbed considerably, meaning not as many fans liking them. The fandom has ebbed considerably, you see, in recent years, but would likely come rushing back once a winning team reemerges. I wonder if they would say the same thing about the Jets. If this were the Jets, they would be, they'd be like, the fan base is still raging despite unprecedented ineptitude. The Eagle, the Eagles were recently valued at 8.3 billion in a minority stake sale. And there you go. The Eagles, who are also sort of around our area, geographic area, also exploring this. The Eli question. With the sale process officially started, speculation has immediately started. That's poor writing on how former Giants star quarterback and two-time Super Bowl champ Eli Manning will factor in the effort. Now, this is big money. I mean, I'm not sure Eli Manning is on this level yet. Now working for the team in a business operations and fan engagement role, in addition to his numerous other ventures, almost all of which are with his brother Peyton, Manning has not commented on the latest news. He has, however, repeatedly spoken of his desire in acquiring a stake in the Giants. Well, he could acquire a stake, you know, and that it would likely be the only team in which he would pursue ownership. The ongoing success of his various post-retirement activities, including Manningcast, has also likely enabled Manning to be a part of a larger group, acquiring the minority equity stake. He is also co-owner of the NWSL's NJNY Gotham Football Club. So there you go. That's I mean, we're going to keep seeing news like this. And the question is, nobody ever is going to ever ask Woody Johnson about this. It's the most important question to ask Woody Johnson, and nobody will ever ask him. Why? Well, first of all, he doesn't step in front of the media, but other than that, now what else might you, if you were to sell a minority interest in the team, what else might you be able to use it upon? What about this? Steve Cohen wants to spend $8 billion to transform Citi Field into an entertainment district. Have we been talking about this on this channel for months? Phil Adams, let me know. Haven't we been talking about this for months now, Phil? Haven't I told you this is my dream as well? And look what Steve Cohen is doing. Uncle Stevie, there he is. Last month, hundreds of Mets fans gathered at Citi Field in Queens for the team's Amazing Day Fan Fest. Never one to play it safe, billionaire owner Stevie Cohen pulled out all the stops to make sure everyone left with unforgettable memories. So this guy seems like a great owner, right? Doing everything correctly. Fans took pictures, got autographs. David Wright, Mike Piazza. Cohen gave VIP ticket holders a tour of his suite. You could also visit the team's museum. I assume that's where they keep the 86 Mets. Last time they won anything, as far as I know. Take some swings in the batting cage used by the players, even throw a few pitches in the bullpen in the tunnel. That's who Steve Cohen is as an owner. After buying his childhood team for a record $2.4 billion, the billionaire hedge fund manager has made it clear he isn't trying to make money on the Mets. He just wants to have fun and win championships. Maybe it sounds too good to be true, but it's not. Given Major League Baseball doesn't have a salary cap, the league had to rewrite its luxury tax rules because of him. So now, this is what he wants to do. Look at this. Why can't the Jets get in on this? This is what we've been saying on this channel for years and years. Well, not well, yeah, years and years. If you go back to the old channel, why can't the Jets get in on this? One of these things over here should be, the new Met Life, whatever you want to call it, Jet Life, whatever it is. You don't need this soccer field. You need a Jet stadium here. Hidden between the food vendors and memorabilia collections, fans saw a glimpse of Cohen's vision. Named Metropolitan Park, fans were shown a diorama. Well, at least he's brought a diorama, like the old days of the science fair, of what Cohen believes the Mets fan experience should eventually look like. Yeah, and it should include the Jets. I mean, this is amazing. This is exactly what I've been talking about. A grand vision. While some real estate ideas are so complex that owners can't explain them without a presentation, Cohen's plan is simple. He wants to convert 50 acres of asphalt parking lots into mixed use development with public parks, hotels, live music venues, bars and restaurants, and yes, even a casino and sports book. Cohen is not asking taxpayers for any money, and nearly all the land earmarked for use is already vacant. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Why can't the Jets get in on this? Meaning no residents or businesses will be displaced. I mean, this is crazy. So, I mean, it goes on, but really, this is all we need to know. So, I mean, there's hotels over here. It says Hard Rock over here. There's literally no reason why this can't be the Jets Stadium over here or whatever. There's literally no reason. And you could make it even better with the Jets partnering because Woody Johnson, one thing he has is money. So why in the hell are we not getting in on this? To explain to me that. Give me your reasons for why the Jets. Woody's got to be seeing about this. I mean, Woody's got to know what's going on this with this kind of a thing. Why wouldn't this pique his interest? This is the perfect thing that he needs to do to remove himself from being attached at the hip to the stupid Giants. You know, we should be attached at the hip to the Mets and the Jets. It's the way it should be. That's where the fan base is got all the land. Is not going to disrupt anything. So, someone please tell me why Woody is not looking into this. I would like to know. And if anybody from the Jets is watching this, some by some miracle, please get in Woody's ear and tell him to talk to Stevie Cohen and say, Stevie, let's make it 20 million times better. Let's do a Mets Jets thing and just really like go balls to the wall on this thing. I mean, could be really spectacular. I mean, this thing could be a spectacular thing for the people of New York. I mean, not to mention quite profitable. I mean, yeah, it's a big investment up front, of course, but in the long term, if you're thinking about legacy, and Woody's got to be thinking about his kids. I mean, look, you got Brick Johnson, you got the other one. I mean, these are young kids. They need money too. What do you want them to do? Go dance for nickels on the street? I mean, they need a source of income. Oh, why not a gigantic entertainment district? That's what we need. I mean, this seems like the perfect joint venture between the Mets and the Jets. It could be spectacular. Could be amazing for everybody, the owners, their families, the public, the Jets, the Mets. What's the downside? Yeah, it's a win-win. It's a 360 win infrared. What's the downside here? Can someone explain to me where the downside is? They all have the money. Nobody's being displaced. The vision is there. He's got a diorama already. Once you have the diorama, it's pretty much all downhill from there. I mean, let's be honest. He has it. I mean, he's got a diorama. It's already done. Here it is. Boom. Diorama. Done. And that's the hard part is the diorama. So I just don't understand. Where is Woody Johnson? Somebody wake this guy up. We need to have our own identity. And partnering with the Mets does not affect our identity in terms of football, stuff. And this is amazing. There's a huge overlap between the Mets fandom and the Jets fandom. It's so perfect. It's ridiculous. And there's not a peep out of Woody about any of this, about doing any of this. Nothing. Giants are open to all this. If Woody needed some cash to get involved in this, well, here's how to do it. Like it's all set up. It's all here. Like you do this, you sell 10% of the minority stake, you get $1 billion in cash, and then you invest it in this. Like, what is the problem? It's so easy. It's all right here. We can do it very easily. There's no reason why we cannot do this. I don't have enough cash. Okay, here, right here. Here's how to do it. You call up these people. I closed the. Oh, here it is. You call up these people. These people right here, Moelis and Company. You just call them up. You can get their phone number. It's very easy to get their phone number, and you call them up and you say, "Hello, yes, this is Woody Johnson. I own the New York Jets. You know, and I'd like to explore the potential sale of a minority non-controlling stake in the New York Jets." So you just use what it says here, and you replace everywhere it says Giants. You just replace with Jets. That's it, and you're off to the races. Okay, and they will help you. Trust me, you can find their phone number, okay? And when you call them up, they're going to help you because you're going to give them lots of money to help you. So they're not going to not return your phone call, Woody, like most people. They're going to call you back and they're going to get on the phone with you and they're going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get this done. And that gives you the money in your pocket, the liquidity, to afford player signing bonuses, to afford more coaching, to afford more nutrition people, to afford more people for the strength and conditioning, more doctors, whatever you want. You have the money now because you can get the liquidity from selling a 10% non controlling stake in the Jets. Get it? Then, if you want to go and really leave a legacy, you do what Stevie Cohen is doing and you just partner with him. Like, why would Steve Cohen say no to this? Why would Steve Cohen say no to this? Uh, I mean, I don't see any reason. It's not really causing him any harm. If one of these things was the Jet Stadium, in fact, he'd probably like it. I mean, it'd probably be more celebrated. Uh, it's not bad for Steve Cohen. It's not bad for anyone. So, explain to me why this isn't happening. I'd like to know. I'd like to know. PC Salami says, I have no explanation. Well, we need to have an explanation. And somebody needs to ask Woody Johnson, why wouldn't you do this? What's going on here? Let's get some brain cells and rub them together and figure this out because it's not that hard to see that if you just do this and that gets you this, and then you could do more with this if you want. You can get yourself more cap space. You can get yourself better players, which will get you on the winning track. Okay, it all ties together. We're building something here, detective. We're building it from scratch. And all the pieces matter, including the money. I mean, the money is very important. You want better players, you got to pay more money. You want to win more, get better players. You want to have sustained success, get better players all across the board, and better coaches, and better nutrition people, and better strength and conditioning people. And you have to pay them money. Where do you get the money from? From the liquidity of this sale. What else do you do with the liquidity of the sale since it's going to be $1 billion, $1 billion in cash to your pocket? What else can you do? Well, you can also move to Queens. I mean, hello? What's going on? Why isn't this happening? Why are we hearing nothing out of the Jets? They're not even like considering. Like you would have to hear years in advance. Jets considering getting out of lease and at Jet Stadium at MetLife Stadium. You would hear rumblings like that. There would be articles, and we're not seeing it. So what the hell's going on? I don't understand it. And none of our reporters. I mean, if anybody's watching this who could actually talk to one of the real reporters like Dick Chimney or even Jake Asman, somebody talk to Jake Asman, so he could, I don't know, have somebody on about this or something. But it seems to make so much sense. Every Jet fan would be so happy if he would do this. I mean, he would probably get a whole lot of season ticket sales back, you know? Season ticket holders, all those people who are pissed off about Aaron Rodgers or the disappointing season or whatever. Here's a way to get them back. If you started talking about this, how many of the fans would be so excited and all the merchandise sales would go up and all the season tickets would go up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have to start thinking about the fans, Woody. And how do we delight our fans so that they love the Jets even more and will express their love with hard earned cashola? That's what we need. Infrared, I know. It's a win 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 all over the place. It's a win for everybody. I can't find a loser in this whole deal. I mean, who loses? It seems to me everybody wins. The players win, the team wins, Woody wins, the minority owners win, Steve Cohen wins, the Mets win. Where's the loser here? I can't see it. Yeah. I mean, for how long do we have to be the Giants' little brothers? I mean, it's been forever. That's part of the problem. Part of the problem. There's a lot of parts to the problem, but that's one of them. And this whole New Jersey idea doesn't even make any sense for the Jets. We're a Queens team. That's what we are. PC says maybe Jaime's against it. Okay, well, make the argument then, PC. Make the business argument against it. What's the business argument against it? If you're a businessman, you're there for one reason and one reason only, to make profit and to increase the profit, and everything goes up and to the right. So, what's the business argument against this? It's not going to make enough money. Oh, Jaime's looked at the details of such a proposal and decided that it's not going to be as profitable as he would like. It doesn't meet the internal rate of return that he wants. Get out of here. Get out of here. Because first of all, you could all. I mean, you might say, well, it's okay. Let's steel man it. Let's steel man it. One thing you could say, it's going to take too long to earn back the money that we invest in it. It's going to take too long to earn back the money. Does Woody need money? Or can he be like Stevie Cohen and be like, you know what? I mean, these two people are the same. Cohen, they're both hedge fund managers. And it says right here, it's clear he's not trying to make money on the Mets. He just wants to have fun and win championships. Why isn't Woody the same then? I mean, you can't run the thing into the ground where it's losing money, but at the same time, it doesn't exactly need to be super profitable because he has other businesses that are super profitable. So even if you steel man it and say, well, from a business perspective, it doesn't earn a sufficient internal rate of return in a 10-year time frame, let's say. Well, first of all, I would say think in a bigger time frame because eventually it will make a good internal rate of return. You just got to give it time. Probably. Now, maybe this thing looks nice on a diorama, but maybe if you looked at the financials, it doesn't look so good. I don't know. But nonetheless, you would think that such a venture would at least be profitable or at least break even, you know. But it's hard to imagine because if you put the things up here, like would all the concerts that come to MetLife Stadium, would they not prefer to be in Queens? Why not? They I would if I were an artist, I'd rather play in Queens. It's in the city. Make people go all the way out to New Jersey. So all the concert, you could probably increase the number of concerts you have at that stadium. So steel manning it, uh, geez, where's all these oh, here. Steel manning it. I still don't get it. I mean, the only thing Jaime could say is it doesn't meet the internal rate of return required in a 10-year period. Okay, well, first of all, how much is it off? And then second, why don't we look at it at a 20-year period, a 30-year period? I mean, Brick Johnson's 17 years old. If you think about legacy, right? Eventually, Brick Johnson's going to take it over, and his brother, and they're very, very young. So why are you thinking in a 10-year time period? Why don't you think of it in a 20 or 30 or 40-year period, right? So it doesn't seem to make much sense to me. Woody could land his plane at LaGuardia, 5 minutes walk to the. Yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't. Now, sometimes he takes his helicopter though, and lands his helicopter at practice. Yeah, that's a big dick move. Salami says, "I got none." Yeah, but right. So like we got to think about it like Jaime's a real person and he's really has a job. His real job is being the president of the Jets, which means he's in charge of the business, which means he's taking a look at things like internal rate of return. If we invest $1 million over a 10-year period, am I going to meet my internal rate of return, which is usually, 7, 8%, something like that? Because I could take my money and put it into a treasury. I could take my money and put it into the stock market. So I want a premium over that to make it worth the investment and the risk. So that gets factored in. Maybe you want a 5, 6, 7% internal rate of return. And maybe this is coming in at, 3% internal rate of return. Okay. Uh, So therefore, we're going to turn it down. But and so that would be the steel man argument. Okay, but does this really have to make as much business sense as something in the Johnson Company? Woody Johnson's investment company is called the Johnson Company. Very creative. Um, you know, or some other kind of investment, or are there other side benefits to turning all of these crappy parking lots in Queens and abandoned areas and turn them into a beautiful, amazing place? You know, that people would come in, tourism would increase, the amount of high level, um, sporting events, whether it's soccer, tennis, concerts, all of this would increase. That increases the amount of tax revenue the city gets, and then the city could hopefully use it properly, and afford all of the things that the city has to do on a municipal basis, uh, and all of that. So even if you steel man it from the business perspective, which is what Jaime would do, uh, unless it's, I mean, I can't imagine it's a terrible investment that's bringing in negative IRR or something like that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Dom says every 5 years the Jets contract extends. I believe the Jets have to give notice at least to leave 5 years or the earliest they could. Yeah, right. So why aren't they looking into this now? This is exactly the point. Look into it now so you can get out of the lease in 2030 or whatever. And by the way, you can always leave a lease. You just have to pay a penalty if they really wanted to. Depends what the penalty is. Phil Adams, build a dome. Yeah, and you could build a dome here, right? The Queen Stadium could have a dome, or build it like the Buffalo Bills are building it. I would take the Buffalo Bills Stadium and build it in Queens. Look at what the Buffalo Bills are building. It's amazing. But then if you had a dome, you could bring a Super Bowl game to New York City, right? Although they still don't like the cold, for people to travel and stuff like that. But so it wouldn't be a perennial, it wouldn't be a, you wouldn't get a lot of Super Bowls, but you might get one out of every, 10 years or something. You still got the weather problem. And, February in New York City isn't very pleasant. Jaime also lives in Bergen County, New Jersey. Well, I don't know how you know that, Dom, but I mean, if you're thinking about going to his house, I would advise you not to. Please don't. Well, but that also tells you he's not a Queens native, right? He's not in line with the fan base. He's not in alignment with where the fans are, where they come from, the history of this organization. Which is another reason he should have been fired. Get out of here. You're fired. I think NFL, yeah, that's exactly right, Phil. But if you had a dome, you might be able to get one, you know, one. But they want to have it in LA. They want to have it in Vegas. They want to have it in New Orleans. They want to have it hot weather places. Tampa, anywhere in Florida, you know, Texas. Yeah. Yeah, the Johnson. Can you imagine they named their company the Johnson Company? I mean, it's ridiculous. How uncreative are you? Let's call it the Johnson Company. uh, we're the Johnsons, don't you get it? But yeah, I really don't understand the lack of intelligence. I mean, just because Jaime lives in Bergen County, New Jersey, that doesn't mean he's got to be stupid. I mean, sure, it's possible, but uh, if not, if not probable. But at the same time, he has to realize the fan base, the history, it all goes back to Queens. And if you want a more profitable team, you have to start winning, and you need an identity, and you need something for the frickin' fans to believe in. What are we supposed to believe in right now? Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Travis. I mean, what are we supposed to believe in? Winning Williams? Come on. We need something to believe in, and we need something big. I think this is just the thing. Now, one of the things you could say also, boy, Steve Cohen's doing a great job. I mean, can Steve Cohen, what a guy. What a dream. I mean, they haven't won anything yet, but not for lack of trying. This guy's doing everything he can, seems like. Um, and I don't know. Are the Mets going to be good next year? I haven't been paying attention to baseball, so I have no idea. Didn't they sign Juan Soto? So that should be good. Uh, but are they going to actually win ball games? I don't know. But this is the type of idea. This is the exact idea that I said should be done by somebody. And we were thinking about who could own the Jets and do this. And now Steve Cohen wants to do it because it's just such an obvious idea. Of course, that's what should be done. You're not going to displace anybody. Anybody. You're taking land that's fakakta and turning it into something great. I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't see why there isn't even more enthusiasm about this. The Jets are just going to continue on with this stupid New Jersey arrangement. It's so dumb. And it doesn't make any sense from a stadium perspective, from a travel perspective, from a fan enthusiasm perspective, from a historical perspective, from any perspective other than, well, we can put a nice, profitable stadium up there. And it's kind of close to New York City. Uh, okay. I mean, just such a disappointing thing because really these owners really should be looking to provide incredible experiences for the fans where you walk away from a game and you go, wow, that was a time of my life. You know what I mean? That was a time of my. Does anybody go to a Jets game, even if they win, which hasn't happened much, and come home and go, that was the time of my life? I can't believe it. It was so amazing. I can't wait to go back the next time. Everybody's like, ugh, I have to travel to the air conditioner. Oh my God, I have to sit in traffic for 6 hours. Oh my God. Like, even if you go and do it, you regret it. You don't have the time of your life when you're there, as far as I understand it. So, because I've never gone to a to a game there, but you know, I mean, it's ridiculous. But that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. And because Woody Johnson seems to be perhaps the least creative thinker on planet Earth, even though he's got all these business people around him that are supposed to be geniuses, uh, they can't figure it out. Phil Adams says Cohen is worth approximately 120% more than Woody. Is that true, Phil Adams? We can look things up these days. I'm going to ask Perplexity to compare the net worths of these two Dinglehoffers. Let's go sign in here with this. Compare the net worths of Woody Johnson and Steve Cohen. Let's see what we got. You're right. As of February 2025, Steve Cohen has a significantly higher net worth compared to Woody Johnson. Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, has an estimated net worth of $21 billion. dollars. 21 billion. Cohen's wealth has grown substantially over the years. Blah blah blah. Now is at 21. On the other hand, Woody Johnson has an estimated net worth of 16 billion. Well, I mean that's still pretty close. This represents a considerable increase from his earlier reported net worth of 2.5 billion just 4 years ago. So Cohen apparently has 5 more billion than Woody. Okay, well if Woody would sell some part of the team, he'd have more. You see, that's why I said if you need a little extra cash, Woody, Say if Woody sells 10% of the Jets, he's going to get another billion. So then he'll be 4 billion away from Steve Cohen. How about that? And that's not 120%. That's only what 25% or so. So yeah, but it's not a problem. 16 billion is still plenty. And he can get so much more. As I've explained, Phil, he can get so much more very easily. Like I said, you just call up the people. They'll tell you how to do it. So simple. It's amazing, you know. When you're worth that much money, it's amazing how many companies, big companies, will just walk you through everything you need to do. You know, when you're a regular person, you got to figure it all out yourself. Nobody helps you do anything. You're a rich person. There's whole companies, and they're all waiting for you to call. So yeah, that's where we're at. That is where we're at right now. And it's just frustrating because even if Woody needed more, he could easily get it very easily in cash money. And there'll be plenty of people who would want to give him that cash money for the Jets also. It would not be hard to find the people. So so there's that. So there's that. All right. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Perplexity tells me he's worth 16 billion in 2025. And maybe Perplexity is wrong, but their sources are Forbes and uh, some other things. 565 is Football and Sports Network. Do, do. Michael Bidwell is only worth 1.4 billion. Well, this article's interesting. According to this, the Johnson family are the sixth richest owners in sports. So they got plenty of money, Phil. Money's not the problem. Only only the Broncos with the Walton family, and then the Hunt family, and then David Tepper, and then the Paul Allen Trust for the Seahawks, and then Stan Kroenke with the Rams, and then the Johnson family. According to this, I think they got plenty of money, Phil. There's not a problem, and he could sell more than 10%. By the way, if he wanted to, could sell 20%. Not a problem. So this is just annoying. Lack of vision and creativity. All right, so I think I'll call it Friday evening. Thanks for joining from the new apartment, the new digs we got here. We'll try to make it a little better as time goes on. Of course, we'll do coffee with Frankie on Sunday, 10 a.m., and see what's going on with the Jets at that point in time. But hit the like button if you wouldn't mind. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Hit the join button. You could join the inner circle if you want to. But with that being said,